I love my mom a lot. She's a great person. But one thing I've had to deal with my entire life is that she believes that Forrest Gump is a real person. When I was in 8th grade, we went to Bubba Gump Shrimp Co., which is a restaurant based on Forrest Gump. And I thought it would be kind of an awakening, you know, because there's not like a picture of Tom Hanks on one side and then a picture of another person who is Forrest Gump. It's just all Tom Hanks. So I was like, Mom, as you can see, Forrest Gump just made for the movies. But she said, oh, well, if you think that, then let's ask the waiter. So a teenage boy comes over, asks for our drinks, and then my mom asks him if Forrest Gump is a real person. And he's taken aback, which makes sense. It was probably his first experience with mental illness. And he goes, no, ma'am. That's just Mr. Hanks on your screen. And then when he left, my mom looked back at me and she says, well, that young man must not care about his job very much if he doesn't even know Forrest Gump is a real person. My mom's very smart. She's a scientist. She works in blood banks. I wasn't very good at school growing up, but it was pretty hard when she was angry at me for failing a test, because it was like, you know what test I didn't fail, Mom? You know which one I aced? Is Forrest Gump real test. I did really great on that one. My dad died while listening to the Shrek, the original motion picture soundtrack. Some doctors would say he died because of cancer. I think it was because of that. The reason why he was listening to that was because they asked 9-year-old me, what do you think would comfort your dad in this time of need? And I only knew 2 things about my dad. 1, I only saw him on Saturdays. 2, we watched Shrek every single Saturday. What a horrible way to die. I think it probably went something like, do you like pina coladas? Beep, beep, beep. And dancing in the rain. Beep, beep, beep. Do you like making love at midnight? Beep. After he passed away, my school therapist made me do a Q&A about his death in front of my entire 3rd grade class. And one of the kids asked, did you do it? To which I replied, no, but not convincingly. Like if you saw that in an episode of Law & Order, you'd be like, oh my God, the kid did it. You can probably tell that I'm trans, but if not, let's get a drink sometime. Sometimes when you're trans, people shout things at you on the streets. Like the other day I thought somebody called me a tranny, but they actually said trans. Eek. Scared, but respectful. Sometimes when people are transphobic, it's like they're thinking about becoming a bigot, but they want to see what it's like to hate someone first. You get a lot of little league hateful people when you're trans. Like Like the other day I had somebody follow me off the train and be like, "You're a dude, you're a dude." And it's like, pal, you're not getting to the KKK with that material. I think guys like that are waiting for some older man in a suit to come out of the shadows and be like, "Hey kid, I like your chutzpah. If you ever want to get into some anti-Semitism, here's my card." Sometimes people do say things that scare me though. Like I was on the bus once and an older man pointed at me and then he turned to his girlfriend and was like, "That guy dressed like that deserves to get murdered." Pretty severe. But it did make me feel good because it's the first time I've ever had a baby boomer tell me I was entitled to something. I have bipolar disorder. Sometimes when I tell people I have bipolar disorder, they freak out, which offends me because that's my thing. Sometimes I think about killing myself. And my therapist the other day was like, "Well, what is it like when you think about killing yourself? Like, are you thinking about jumping off a building or slitting your wrist?" And I was like, "It's kind of like Benny and the Jets. It's just Benny and the Jets." I'm doing pretty good now, but one time when I was in high school, I called the suicide hotline because I was pretty down, but I called the wrong suicide hotline. I called the veteran suicide hotline. So the first thing I hear when the guy picks up the phone is, "Hey, how you doing, soldier?" Which made me feel incredible. Valentine's Day is next week, and it's fine. It's not that bad. Oh, it reminds you that you're alone? Well, if that's not if you aren't reminded that you're alone every day of your life, you're living a pretty good life, so I'm not going to feel bad. But I wrote a few love letters that I'm going to read. But they're love letters that I wrote that I wish other people had written to me. So, this first one is kind of general and all-purpose. Dear Grace, your depression is hot. I love to find chip crumbs in your folds when I'm licking you from head to toe. It's like I'm eating my mom's casserole and having sex at the same time. My favorite thing about you though is when you call me at 3 a.m. after we haven't talked in 6 months, not to hook up, but to talk about the time your dad left you on the street corner holding his lit cigarette while he went up into the bookstore to buy porno magazines, and you pissed yourself because you were so scared that if a cop saw you, you would go to jail forever. In a lot of ways, I don't think you ever left that street corner. And I find that incredibly attractive. Love everyone you've ever dated. Dear Grace, at first I thought it was a weird choice when you put on the lobster when we were hanging out the other night. But actually something about seeing Colin Farrell of all people not be able to get laid really turned me on. I'm sorry that I asked if I should call you a cab literally 10 seconds after I came, like we were in some sort of hacky romantic comedy from the early 2000s. That was wrong. Grace, I don't deserve you. I'm a barista with a civil engineering degree, and I don't complain about being a barista, even though, again, I have a civil engineering degree. I can put it to use at any time I want. Well, this is a specific person. I don't want to say their name, but it's a specific person. I will say their initials titles are literally BS. I'll leave you with this last letter. It's a little speculative. Dear Grace, this is your partner from the future, Darren Criss with Chair's brain and Daniel Day-Lewis voice. In my time, you just won your first Academy Award for your film, Love Letters I Wish Other People Wrote Me. It's like an imaginative therapy exercise. Everyone said it wasn't embarrassing or sad at all. And they especially said that the title wasn't too long and that you're a good person and they love you. It's weird to think that we won't even meet until February 10th, 2018. Oh wait, there's one last one on the back of that letter. Dear Grace, I love you, but I want a divorce. After your 8th Oscar in 5 years, I realized that I could never be enough for you.